Hello guys and welcome back to the Bftv preview show. This is your Luton Town preview. Hello guys and welcome back. It's been fair to say that this week has been another eventful week in the life of Birmingham City, or do you know what? A normal week to us, but a crazy one to some. A lot's happened maybe on the pitch, off the pitch, going to happen on the pitch, and there's a lot to get through. No Emily this week, unfortunately. She is away in London on business, but she will be back for the review show after the Luton Town game. So it's just me. We did catch up with Kane Styles, however, and that will be the bulk of this week's preview as we spoke about matters on and off the field. And if you don't already follow him, I will put his @ on the bottom of the screen when the interview commences. So guys, before we do get into the video, don't forget to leave a like on this video. It really does help. Can we hit over 60 likes? I know I ask for it every week. We don't usually hit it, actually. So can we try this week? That'd be great. Comment down below your thoughts. A lot's happened this week. A lot of you commented on the podcast. If you haven't already watched that, don't forget to do so as well, and subscribe if you haven't already, and put the notification bell on so you don't miss any of these uploads that we do make on Birmingham Fan TV. So guys, Luton Town this weekend, and for me it is a do or die game for Pep Clotet. I think it is a massive game, and there is a lot of pressure riding on this game, not just for him but for the club, for the owners, for the players, everybody. There is pressure on this game, and it's fair to say that anything other than a win this weekend could be fatal for the Blues boss. I know the knife is dwindling, obviously the reports in the paper, and it's plain to see that the pressure's on Pep. The win against Blackburn last weekend did help to alleviate some of that, but it doesn't distract from the really poor form in the league that Blues have suffered since mid-October. So guys, we're going to get into the interview now with Kane, and this is a fantastic interview. Kane had a lot to say about matters on the pitch, but mainly off the pitch, and had some strong words for the owners, and I do hope you enjoyed this one. Go and give him a follow and let us know your thoughts throughout. Okay, so I'm joined by Kane Styles. Obviously, a lot of you will know Kane from Twitter. Kane, thanks for joining us.
No worries, mate.
So Kane, obviously I know you've got a lot to say, and I know a lot has happened over the last week. Obviously, we've had ownership issues. The football on the pitch has been questionable, to say the least, and obviously the FA Cup draw, which has been a bit of a laugh. Yeah. But we can get into all of that a little bit later on. So let's start with the on-the-field issues. Whether people obviously could call it issue or a crisis, that's for them to decide. 1 win in 12, 1 clean sheet in 19. The FA Cup win was our first win at home since October. Just obviously give me your thoughts on Pep. Is it all his fault, or is it just the blame fall elsewhere as well?
I think it was always going to be a difficult challenge from the outset this season. So, we've gone from playing, similar football under obviously Rowett. We got comfortable with that style of football. Then, not too dissimilar to what kind of Monk implemented there. And, we want that complete change. And I think, obviously, what happened with Zola, obviously we had major unsuccess there. And the transition this season, we have tried to implement that new style of football. Yeah. I know we looked at it, I think we spoke about it on Twitter briefly when we did appoint Pep permanently. Saying, we did think it was the right move. Obviously, since that, form significantly dipped, hasn't it? So I don't think we can blame Pep entirely, because it was a major task anyway. Yeah. There's the debate whether he picks the team every week. Who knows? We don't hear anything from the hierarchy. Pep's not going to say that he doesn't pick the team, so no, of course. We're left in the fog there. So, the whole thing's very unclear. I don't think we can solely blame Pep, because I think he genuinely is doing his best in the role. Yeah. Has the recruitment been down to him? Has it? I mean, we don't know these things. I know under Redknapp that most of the signings we made there, they weren't his choice. So I'm guessing it's the same at the moment. That's the presumption. So yeah, I don't think we can blame Pep. But again, is he capable of taking us to where we should be as a club? No, he's not. He's not. We've learned that recently, haven't we? So again, I think the players have to take some of the responsibility. You look at the performances of Harley Dean. Not acceptable. I'm not one for slaughtering him on Twitter like most people are doing. And I mean, as a club, I think we're quite kind of, what's the word? How can I describe it? We accept failure too much.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Just because, we come across as this fan base that's resilient, fighting kind of warrior-based club, but it's not fair, is it? So in terms of going forward, we'll see what happens Saturday.
Yeah.
Like
you say, obviously, the recruitment side of things, we don't know how much influence he has. I think he said today to the press that he has a lot of control over who comes in.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then I think it's really you get some gems. He's got Bella, he's got in Crowley, and obviously Sunjic as well to a certain extent. But then you've got some real questionable ones as well. I think Villalba's turned out to be a bit of a flop, and so's Jimenez, and like you say, and all of that falls upon who does it fall upon? Who gets the blame for that one? And then obviously the results as well. Like you say, the performance have dipped and the results, but can he change it? Can he turn that around? Obviously, we're not looking for promotion now, but we're looking to at least, move up the table, mid-table, upper mid-table. Can he do that? Is he the man to turn it around?
I don't think so. I think, at the beginning of the season, we had, I think the Bristol City game, we did get the win at Brentford, but it was backs against the wall for 85 minutes. But, for a good period of the first half of the season, I thought there's genuine signs of progression here. Some of the passages at play that were happening, you look at the goal we scored against Blackburn in the league at home, it's fantastic stuff. And you see that and you think, is this working? Am I starting to believe that this plan and this strategy is actually being implemented properly? Yeah. Again, the squad that we have is significantly underachieving for me. Again, recruitment, we don't know who that falls under, but there's no doubt that there's talent in that squad and they shouldn't be where they are in the league.
Yeah, no,
and it's as simple as that. So is he the man to take us forward? No, he's not, but I think he will be for the foreseeable future. I know that kind of the hierarchy have flown over to Birmingham over the last day or so. So, we come out in the Leeds game saying that, the board fully backed Pep. And then within 3 weeks, they're flying over again. We've lost albeit beating Blackburn in the cup, another 2 losses in the league against, one against Wigan. That's not acceptable. We've lost to Wigan, who are, for me, one of the second poorest side in the league after Luton.
Yeah.
So if we fail to beat Luton on Saturday, having lost against Wigan the previous week before, he can't lead this forward. But I think it's a matter of pride. The only way Pep goes is if Dong leaves for me, Dong and Cheng.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
And that's it. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that failure to win at Luton on Saturday is you kind of look at it and you go, well, we've taken no points from the 2 poorest teams in the league. Well, even if he takes a point, it's still not good enough for me. And like you say, we've conceded 8 goals in the last 3 home games. Things have progressively gotten worse and gone back to where we were sort of with Zola. But we'll move on, obviously, from the on the pitch, because we know that obviously things aren't good enough. But now the attention has switched over the last 2 or 3 days, maybe for the better, I think, because I think this has been sort of brushed over for a long time.
Yeah.
Dong Ren, Edward Cheng, and whoever else is on the board at club level. Yeah. Let us know your opinions, because obviously I know you've got a lot to say about that, and I know there is a lot to be said.
I think there's a lot we don't know. I think, Panos Pavlakis, who was kind of chief exec, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I have been in contact with him on Facebook in the past.
Yeah.
And the impression I even get from him is that the whole thing is bent. Again, that's the impression I get, that we're never going to be clear at the moment. It's nothing. There's no real direction. It's just we'll throw money at it. We won't think about the consequences in business terms and that the FA will put on us. It's just throwing money at it. And what's worrying about the whole thing is under the last kind of ownership regime, we didn't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah.
And I can deal with that because we're trying, administration, it means we've actually got no money. We're trying to make ends meet. We somehow stayed up on that last day. Fantastic. Saved the club, more or less.
Yeah.
to go from this, where we are throwing money at it, it's more worrying when we've got money and we're finding ourselves in this position rather than being on the brink of administration for me, because there's clearly no thought process behind the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you just look at some of the decisions that the hierarchy are making recently. So again, you look at Blues in business terms at the moment. So something like every quid that's coming in, £1.40 is going out in wages alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the whole thing's unstable. You can't run a club that way anyway. Most of the damage there was obviously done when we appointed Harry and threw out the kitchen sink at going up, which was a ridiculous thing to do. It just showed the lack of experience where we were at that time.
Yeah.
So again, we obviously had the 9 points deduction. Was it the end of March last season?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That period. So you think, the hierarchy can see that the two, the directors of the board there at the moment, they can't run this club sufficiently. They can't take us where we want to be in business terms without suffering consequences. The first club in Football League history to be kind of a victim of FFP. I know someone was it Portsmouth who got fined or?
Yeah, Portsmouth got fined and deducted points, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're one of the only clubs to have it,
Yeah, rare.
So, I mean, we look at that, 9 points deducted. In business terms, it's horrific. We've sacked our manager, albeit, he was being a snake. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He had to. You can't do that. It's not the moral way to do things. But again, we go with Pep. We've had 9 points deducted. So what does the hierarchy go and do? We go and double Ren's wage for the year. So it's understood that he was earning 150k last year. He's now on double that.
Yeah.
So we can point the finger at Dong and co, but what's happening at the top for them to warrant that increase in salary? And with the business model, we've been deducting 9 points because we can't operate properly in the transfer window. Every quid that's coming in, £1.40 is going out. What are they thinking?
Well, yeah, there's no sustainability there. We can't continue to do it. I know that they said they've cut losses this year by 6 million, but it's still not good enough. I think it's still like 32 million or something stupid. And like you say, I think the most disappointing thing is if we're in administration, we haven't got anything to spend. We've got no money. You can accept it because there's no room to maneuver. These guys we've clearly got some good financial backing from the top guys in China. There's clearly a wealth of money there. But for me, what confuses me the most is that these guys at the top surely know what's going on. Their investment is failing. Their money is going nowhere. It's being pissed down the drain. And then these guys continue to succeed in a job, like you say, and then he's getting his wage double. But how do we deal with this? Because the ownership, for me, they seem really stubborn and don't want to change what they've got in. They don't want to bring in people that they don't know but may work. So what do you think? How do we go about changing these guys?
I don't know what we can do. I mean, do you, as a fan base, as I say, we're a fan base that accepts far too often.
Yeah.
I mean, I mentioned Villa a lot. I slag the Villa off all the time. I get called out for that. But anyway, we say we're not the type of fan base to get the bed sheets out to do these ridiculous protests. But has that got to happen? Have we got? I know 1875 has been set up. I'm not saying I'd never get a bed sheet out. Let's just make that clear. But 1875 has been set up by obviously We Are Birmingham and Daniel Ivory. But it's a start, isn't it? They've had, I think they've got over 2,000 followers in a couple of days.
Yeah.
Hundreds of retweets on the articles so far. That's the noise. That's the type of thing that we can all get behind. It's just, will it have enough of effect to reach Hong Kong? That's what we got to think. And again, it's just the club in general. So we don't even own our ground anymore. And I've seen it on Twitter recently. I know Matt Dave was mentioning it the other day. It's sad. I mean, we're paying more rent than Coventry are for our own stadium. I mean, it's just it's sad to see because the heart and soul of the club has clearly been ripped out. And it's not the same as it was 5 years ago even. So
Yeah, I discussed it potentially on the podcast for the second tier podcast last night that it's potentially even sadder than the Carson Young era as well, because the fact that, you know, when we had like Panu in charge, for example, I know nobody liked him, you know, and he was an arrogant, you know, arse, but he had a little bit of transparency. At least he talked to the fans at times. He'd make statements to tell people what was going on. And we were controlled as a club. He kept finances really under control. And I think that it's got to the point now where something needs to happen. And, you know, like you said, I'm not saying get bed sheets out, but we really need to force this. People are going to do anything. So what's the point? You're the reason that we get into these problems, because we are almost like you say, too accepting of it as a fan base now. And it's not like we're asking to be in the Premier League. We don't deserve to be anywhere, but we shouldn't have to accept worry and fear every year. But at the same time, like you say, 1875 doing their best. And obviously, if you guys out there don't know who they are, go and find them. They're a great page set up by good people that really want to push the club in the right direction. But like I say, I just worry about how far this can go, because if we allow them to be left to their own devices again, I think that the next step is relegation, and potentially sort of administration, because I think they could lead this club down a financial, path. So
absolutely.
If you were to obviously ridicule, if you were to take out anything from the club, or if you were to say something now to the people in China, what would you say to these guys at the top, or even to Dong Ren and to Edward Cheng? What would you say to them?
I think, again, we all know this. The silence at the moment is just deafening, isn't it? I mean, as you say, we Panu, we kind of knew what was happening at times, and I know that these guys. I think there's a fan forum on meeting. I think the Blues Trust were there. They organised it a couple of months ago. Yeah, and it's all a front. You know, they said they had a plan in place for January. You know, honestly, we're less than 10 days in, but I just don't believe a word they say now. No. It's just, you know, it's scary that these guys are governing the football, especially our football club. You know, a massive city with a club with great potential that has been a Premier League club, has won a cup, you know, in the last decade. So, you know, they're treating it like a toy. And I think, it's just, again, you look at some of the stuff that they're doing. I think it's strategic, it's tactical to dim down that noise and silence us on Twitter a little bit, because that's where all the noise that he's getting at the moment. You know, everyone is getting behind the movement on Twitter. So, you know, I seen the report yesterday that we've bid 10 million for Dennis Mann in Romania. Yeah, of course, yeah. There's no chance that's happening. We know that they're mad anyway. For me, that's a smear campaign. Yeah. That they're doing that to divert the noise aimed at Hong Kong and the board. Get everyone talking, get everyone raise spirits. Let's say that we're going to chuck a kind of a blank check at Chris Hughton. Chris Hughton isn't going to take this job. No. Well, you know, the main reason he left is because of the uncertainty in the past. He's not going to take this job no matter what the money is. You know, these are all things. It's actual propaganda that they're doing. It is, yeah. And you know, I'll always want Blues to get a result, to not win a game, but to win a game. But you know, on Saturday, if we lose, you know, from the top they point at Dong, and then he points at Pep. So I assume that the hierarchy are going to be at the game Saturday. Yeah. They'll see from the fans what we think and what needs to happen. Yeah. You know, I don't think we can aim at Pep, go for him. This needs to be aimed at the board. So, you know, overall the message is listen to the fans that, you know, that genuinely care about the club, that know the club inside out, and do the right thing. I completely agree. Like you say, on Saturday, I know it's not a big following that are going down, but they need to make their voices heard. I think it's massively important that we go there and make a statement. And I do feel sorry for Pep a little bit. I don't know if you fall into that same category. I'm not saying it's good enough, but like you say, all the blame ends up falling on him. Yep. And I do feel like he'll be thrown under the bus to save Ren's job again. It's a cycle essentially.
That's what I mean, and we need to break that cycle. For weeks on Twitter, I was saying to people, "Well, hold on a minute. It's not just the manager. You've got to look deeper. You've got to look up. Yeah. We've been in this situation for how many years now under these guys, and there's a reason for that because they keep appointing the wrong people and then bringing in the wrong people and doing the wrong things and giving the wrong people the money. So, yeah, like you say, Saturday's massive. I even think, being a bit of a cynic, that even a win wouldn't do it for him. I genuinely think that he's done for. He's a sitting duck. But just moving on to Saturday quickly, just to finish us off.
Yeah.
Are you going to the game yourself?
I'm not going to the game Saturday, no. Allocations, it's very difficult, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was a nightmare to get a ticket for that. Do you see us winning this game? Do you see us getting a result? Like, I know we won in the week, but you think we can go there and get something?
I think we can. I just hope it's getting toxic off the field now. The players are aware of what's going on. Holly Dean's deleted Twitter. The general feel, if it's got to, they must know what we think as fans.
Yeah.
And playing under that pressure, it's not going to be there. Blues are a tremendous away sport all the time, but I just think it'll feel a bit different Saturday for the players.
Yeah.
Luton will be right up for thinking we've got to win this game to stay up. We're 8 points behind, obviously, Blues. We have to win that game. Anything less than a win isn't acceptable for me. If you can't beat Wigan or Luton in the space of 2 weeks, then in the middle of the season, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go for. I think we will win.
Okay.
I think we'll have a 2-1 win Saturday. Again, I know Villalba's on about there's talk of him being homesick, so that might be the last of him. I hope it's not. I hope it's not. I hope we do see that do continue to see him, and I hope he does feature on Saturday. Because those are the top players that will help us beat teams like Luton. Jeremy Bella's got a start. He's our biggest danger going forward. Very impressive him. I think he's going to be a fantastic piece of business. Credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
I see us winning that, but again, he's Pep on borrowed time. We'll see.
And just finally, in terms of a team, I know that there's injuries and suspensions and people coming back. Can you just give me roughly what you think the team's going to be on Saturday?
Yeah. So in terms of in goal, I honestly don't know. Obviously, Camp's featured on Saturday. I've seen people saying that, I actually felt safer with Camp in goal than Truman. With Truman, I think he's been very unlucky recently with most of the goals he's conceded. You look at, Charlie Austin's screamer and stuff like that. Look at the Millwall game. He's been very unfortunate.
Yeah.
In the Millwall game, I know he done a terrific save to deny Matt Smith, who scores every game against us. So, I'd go with Truman on Saturday.
Okay.
I'll give him the benefit. Yeah, I'd go with Truman.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think at right back again, it's obviously Maxime Collin. Mark Roberts, I think he's a week out. Is he? Do we have him fully fit Saturday?
No, I don't think he's back for this one. But I think Clark's also got through the game all right.
So it's going to be Dean and Clark Sultan. I might say I was a bit dubious when Clark Sultan first signed. He's diabolical at Sunderland, and I know their fans think he's poor. But in the Eredivisie last season, I think he had one of the highest pass success rates in the whole division. So he's clearly capable of playing the football that we need. And recently, other than his debut against Brighton, I think he's done really well. So I think that them two at centre half. At left back, you've got to go with Peds, who has been one of our best players of the last couple of months.
Yeah,
but solid. Sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
In midfield, obviously we haven't got Sunjic, so
no,
I'd be sticking Gary Gardner in there.
Okay.
I'm going Gardner, McGeckran. I like how McGeckran holds everything together.
He does, yeah.
On the ball, I think he's fantastic on the ball, and you look at him in that Reading game, he was absolutely exceptional.
Yeah.
He can kind of split the play up and get that transition we need between into the final third. I think he's our cog there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I'll be going Gardner, McGeckran. We're going to have to throw Jude in. We can't look past Jude.
Yeah.
That standard that he's starting at the moment, exceptional talent. He's been playing really bad, by the way. So if any top clubs are watching this, let's just, forget about Jude. But yeah, we're putting him because he's young. He needs the experience.
For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the three. And I think I'm going to go with Bella on the left.
Yeah.
Up top, Jimenez.
Interesting.
For Jimenez.
Really?
I think, as you know, I do, credit. I love Duke as a player, but I think the style that we're playing. I want to get it to Jimenez. I want it to work around him. But again, then you have the problem. We put two pacey wingers on. Do we get it into the box, get to the ball on, and get it to Duke? So that's a tough one. But I'm going to go with Jimenez for this week.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with Bella, Jimenez, and I think, again, I'd like to put Crowley in there, but I'm not putting him on that. I'd go with wingers on Saturday. And I'm going to get some stick for this. Again, I'd be putting Magoma in there. Just circumstantial, the team that we're playing, I think we need as much kind of pace as possible, get that as much as possible. So that's what I'll go with Saturday. It's a little bit different, but I think we need a bit of a change.
No, definitely. I think the back five picks itself at the minute.
Yeah.
Without Roberts, etc. I think the midfield, Davis might find himself a bit unlucky.
Yeah.
Because I think he played pretty well on Saturday. I know he's not a great player, but it's between him and Gardner, it's kind of a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
Like you say about McEachran, he's our best player with Crowley on the ball in terms of their.
Yeah, and I think Crowley, he's someone I could put in. So off the top of my head, that's my start 11. But Crowley's got to fit in there somewhere. It's difficult.
No, I completely agree with the team. I think it's an interesting move. The only player I possibly challenge is Jimenez. I'm not saying he's not awful, but I think Duke is usually his go-to guy because he's the safe option.
Yeah.
Because if you put the ball into the box, the likelihood is he's going to get on it.
Yeah. True.
But it's one of them. I think Jimenez offers us something different, but. Yeah. I think he struggled to get up to speed with the league. I think he struggled with the physicality and the intensity of it. I do want to see him obviously progress. I think he's still got something in him. But it's an interesting team, and obviously we need to hit Luton hard because they're going to come at us physically. They're going to be fast. They're going to be and they're going to want it. And it's a tight pitch, and we've got to be good on the ball. It's simple as. But Kane, thank you so much for joining me.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
And obviously, we hope to get you back on soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
For another chat. Obviously, things are going to unfold over the next few months. We're sure of it, whether it's on the pitch, off the pitch. But we'd love to get your thoughts on again for another preview. But thank you so much for joining us. Guys, go and follow him on Twitter if you haven't already. I'll put his @ in the comment down below and obviously across the screen. So go and follow him there, and you can see all his videos on the Villa because they're always quite interesting to follow because... I'm not gonna lie, it makes my Saturday night sometimes with those. So Kane, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll catch you guys again soon. Keep right on.
And Kane there giving his opinionated and passionate views towards what has been a really, really disappointing week for Blues off the field. Again, a lot of troubles, a lot of speculation, and it never seems to be settled at Birmingham City. And obviously, as Kane said there, things have to change, and they have to change fast. And obviously, we all reiterate those views on the podcast earlier this week that things aren't good enough and a lot of things have to change before Blues can start moving in the right direction. So quickly, I will follow up with Kane's team and score prediction with my team that I would go with in this weekend's game against Luton Town. It's a big game and it's one for big characters, and I think that we need to go there and we need to stamp our authority. We need to put our our strongest squad out, and it needs to be one of those typical Blues performances. In goal, it's got to be Connell Trueman for me. Camp came in and obviously he did drop a clanger, but he didn't. I think Trueman would be unfair to be dropped at the minute, and the young man needs as much confidence as he can. So it would be unfair to drop him. So I'll go with Trueman in goal. The back four of Maxime Collin at right back, Christian Pedersen, arguably one of our best players this season at left back, and the two centre-backs being Harley Dean and Jake Clark-Salter returning to the league action since the start of December. Midfield, it's a difficult one with the absence of the suspended Ivan Sunjic. Obviously, I picked up a one-game suspension because of his red card in the FA Cup. So for me, it's got to be a pairing of Josh McEachran, and I would probably defer from what Kane went with, and I would go with David Davis in the middle. I think he was really, really good in the FA Cup game, and obviously needs another chance to prove himself that he can do it still for Blues. So I'd give it to Davis. He's a little bit more of a battler and a grafter, and we're going to need that away at Luton this weekend. Across the attacking midfield three, it's got to be a forward three of Bella, Crowley and Bellingham for me. Our brightest sparks, our best players in those positions. Bella out on the left-hand side, cutting into the right. Bellingham in the number 10 and Crowley out on the right-hand side, giving some of the creative drive coming inside and allowing Max to go on the outside is going to be important. And then up top, it's got to be the main man. It's got to be Lukas Jukovic. I know Kane gives a good argument with Alvaro, and it could well be Alvaro that starts up front on Saturday for Blues, but I think that Duke just edges it for me. He's a big character, he's a leader on the pitch, and we're going to need those leaders on Saturday. And in terms of a score prediction, I think we're going to draw this one. I think that Luton need to win this game. They know that this is a game that they can win, and if they're to stay up, they need to win this one. But Blues also need the result, and I think we can go there, and we've got a lot of players that can cause them problems. I'm going to go with a high-scoring 2-2. Blues can't defend at the minute. Luton can't defend all season. I'm going with a 2-2. Goal scorers, Jeremy Bella and Jude Bellingham. Guys, that has been all from me at Birmingham Fan TV. And also, thank you very much to Kane for joining us this week. We look to get him on in the future very soon. Guys, don't forget, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much to Ball Sports, our sponsors for the season. And we'll catch you in the match preview, hopefully, to talk about a win for the boys in blue. Keep right on.